Hi everybody, I'm very excited to be bringing you our very first course here on Cloud Certification Training, and it is the AWS Solutions Architect exam. And the page that you see in front of you now is the AWS Solutions Architect exam overview and course outline. And I want to bring your attention to this page. Every time you do a module or a unit in this course, you will see an introduction like this and the video, which is not populated yet. A video will be there, and down the bottom, this is very important, links to documentation, links for further study. Again, that has not got any links in it, but it will by the time you are doing this course, and any other notes that I deem necessary. So let's first have a look at the links to the documentation, which I think are very important if you are going to undertake this exam. First of all, it's the exam blueprint as defined by AWS themselves. Now this is off on their website, and it is a little bit, dare I say, confusing, a little bit convoluted in how they outline what you actually need to understand and study. Definitely read through it. Definitely familiarize yourself with everything that's in it. But if there's things that you don't fully understand, don't panic too much, because we have our own blueprint that we've developed that we think is just a little bit easier to follow through. If you are thinking of studying, well, I guess you are, if you're listening to this video, studying up and trying to pass the exam. So I'm not going to get stuck on this blueprint, just bringing your attention to it, and you can read through it yourself and make of it what you will. Also on this page there is a link to the exam overview, also on the AWS website, and it is a little bit easier to follow than the blueprint. Just gives you an overview of who should be taking it, or the sort of person that should be thinking about this exam. Candidate overview, exam overview, how long it takes, multiple choice, how much it's going to cost you. And one thing to note here, the practice exam is $20, and you get 20 questions. I think you get 20 questions. Maybe you get 30. Not 100% sure. But our exam that you can take on our site is $20, and it has 55 questions with explanations of the correct answers and links to further study, among other things. Also here on the right, preparing for your exam, workshops, exam guide, sample questions, practice exam, which I just talked about. So again, read through it, familiarize yourself with it. But we would like to think that we have got a better study guide than that one. Taking nothing away from AWS, of course. But again, this link here is the third link there, breaking down the Solutions Architect. It's a post on our website in our blog, and it is what we will be using for the basis of this course. It's basically going to be the course outline. So what we've done, we've got the AWS blueprint, and we've cut through all the stuff that's just a little bit hard to follow, and we think we've come up with possibly something a little easier. So each domain we've broken down into what they have said in AWS on their blueprint, and we have come up with what we think the concepts are that they are really trying to tell you that you need to study, and we will be going through each and every one of these in this course. So the time you finish this course, you will have a very, very in-depth understanding of AWS Solutions Architect and the sort of questions that you can expect on the exam. Hopefully we cut through all the confusing stuff and get to the nitty-gritty of what you really need to study. There's also example questions which are from our exam, which you can take independently from this course for $20. And each domain's broken down, and with example questions we outline what we'll be going through in this course. And as you can see, it's just a little easier to follow. Again, take note here, VPC is noted in pretty much each section. Now VPC, Virtual Private Cloud, is the be all and end all of really passing this exam, and that's what we're going to concentrate a lot on. You really need to understand Virtual Private Cloud and how it all hangs together. We'll get to that eventually. Well, actually, not eventually. I think we'll start off with that, and all these concepts here, which we have written here, is you need to understand the Virtual Private Cloud architecture inside out. If someone asks me what the secret is to passing this exam, that is it right there. If you can build architecture, take it down, understand all these concepts, then you're well on your way to passing the exam. Okay, before we go on, just one other thing. As I said, there is a link here to our the exam simulation, which is separate to this course. It can be bought separate to this course, but I'm very certain it will be included in the course, the cost of the course anyway. So, but yeah, if anyone else is interested that you know of in just getting a copy of the exam simulation, point them to this site. Before we go on into the course proper, there's just one other thing I'd like to bring to your attention, and I've gone back to the blueprint from AWS, and I just want to bring to your attention, sometimes it can be just as important to know what not to study as it is to understand what you should be studying. For example, this statement, a strong understanding on how to interact with AWS, SDK, API, command line interface, and CloudFormation. Now, if you read that and you're not, well, I would hope you have some sort of a broad idea of what they are actually talking about. But don't worry too much about, now let me try and restate that again. The statement is a strong understanding of how to interact with these services, so to speak, and not, fully. They won't ask you a question. There will be no question on command line interface. There will be no question on what does this command do, or what command would you use to do this or to make that happen. None of those tricky command questions. Nothing like that. So don't get too stressed out about the command line interface. Know it's there, know what it's used for, but as in my experience, I mean, they may change that in a future date, but as it stands now, as I'm recording this course, I would tell anyone who's taking the exam, don't stress too much about the command line interface structures and things like that. In addition to that, CloudFormation, similar thing. CloudFormation templates, I think I've seen them, yes I have, in the sysadmin exam, where they give you a CloudFormation template and it outlines a few of the commands, and its question alludes to what does this do, something on those lines. In the Solutions Architect exam, haven't seen it, don't think it's ever been in there, but again, these things could change. So this associate exam doesn't get too caught up in the minor nitty, details of this sort of stuff, but more getting an overall picture of how it all hangs together. Coming further down, they throw things like web servers and Apache around. You need excellent understanding of typical multi-tier architectures. Yes, you do, but if you don't have an in-depth knowledge of Apache, don't worry too much. Again, with databases, no tricky database questions of what's this MySQL command do, or Oracle command. But you need to know databases, what databases are on AWS, specifically Dynamo. I've seen a few questions on Dynamo, but we will go into all this further on in the course. But yeah, just wanted to bring that to your attention, that command line interface questions and CloudFormation template questions, and even questions like I was going to say how many services can you have that do such and such and this, but then I thought, no, I think I might have seen a question on that. And again, that changes a lot. The number of regions, the number of services per region, etc. like that. I don't think they don't throw any of those tricky little questions like that too often. So again, just to reiterate, the Solutions Architect exam and what we will be concentrating on during this course is for you to get an overall full understanding of architecture, security, all those sorts of things that build your basic infrastructure on AWS. A little further down, I won't go on too much, but risk and compliance, storage options. Again, we'll go into all that. So that's it for the introduction to this exam. The exam course. And the next video, we'll be getting straight into it and hitting virtual private cloud, which is, as I said before, the crux of getting through this exam.